What is up? We're alive. We are alive. Just want to let all those people know, as a note of safety, we are alive. There were 7 or so tornadoes in our area last night. People calling, they checking on us. It's good. You know, hey, we're okay. We're good over here in East Nashville. That may not be the case for everybody that's out there. So if you are, in a dangerous situation, still there's some storms out there. I got the shades on today because I only wish the sun would come out. It is kind of cold here, and it is obviously affecting my voice, but that's okay. We're gonna push through today because it's the Erskin Music Show, and that's what we do. So thank you guys for joining me today. I want to let you guys know the comment section is turned on. The snarkier, the better. That makes for a more interactive show. I appreciate you guys' witticism as you guys join on the Erskin Music Show in particular. So wanted to mention Facebook Live audience. Thank you guys so much for your interaction. I'm just now catching up with some of the correspondence. And so for those of you guys who have been on Instagram, reaching out to me, a little bit late on my correspondence with some of you guys, but some of you guys have needed some things mailed out to you. So I was flying some CDs out and some different things yesterday. We got our merch line that's up here. Ruby and Scooby are in the back. They're doing their thing. That might be a little bit Erskin merch, as well as hats that are up here. This is actually the prototype over here. That's the first ever Erskin Music hat. So I apologize for being slow on the delivery for some of you guys, but we're getting back to it. So thank you guys for your interaction, especially those of you who've been reaching out to me on my website. I love that. I appreciate you guys giving comments. If I've just recently met you at some of the shows that we've been at, hey, really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. I can't think of an event that I have been at recently that has not been fun. It's all been fun. It's all been good. And so for those of you joining us today from the Facebook Live audience, thank you so much for that. I know some of you guys from Wisconsin reached out to me who I've met at a recent show. And so thank you very much for joining me. For those of you who are joining me also on YouTube, as that has become more of an international platform, really enjoy and appreciate you guys supporting this show and dropping comments. And even if it's postscript and it's delayed because of the time frame and the time zones, you guys are still an interactive audiences. Appreciate that. And then for you Twitch guys, gals, whoever's on Twitch, I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you guys over the last 2 weeks not trying to embed viruses into my show. And so no news for you guys is good news. And so I appreciate you guys joining as well. And for the live eyeballs that are watching the show, good morning to you guys. Comment section is turned on. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And we're going to get into some great topics here today. Oh, we're not going to do that one just yet. I think it still feels like a Monday, so we're not going to just do that yet. But here we'll just do a little, warm everyone up. So if you guys are at the door and you're waiting to get in, comment section is turned on, and you are more than welcome to jump in on this thing this morning. A lot of this is going to be about subjects, matters that I have discovered over the weekend and discovered recently and that are in the news that interest me. But hey, as the comment section is turned on, if there's something that interests you guys know I don't have any problem freestyling it a little bit. I prepare, pray, ask the Lord to help out with the show. And I will just go ahead and say we are, we're into spring now, but it feels like we are still in a little bit of winter here. I don't know if that cold front has come your direction or where you're at in the country or where you're listening from, but that is definitely the case. Want to let you know that we love the dolphin sound on this show, but no dolphins will be harmed or are used in any type of abusive way on this show. Just the sound. We love it. And so for those throngs of supporters that are out there, I know. I know. I understand. You guys are really excited about this. These are talents that have been loaned to me from God, and I do fully recognize that. So I'm going to give all the glory to him. I know. Not everybody can do this, but this is the Erskin Music Show, and we're excited that you guys are here today. So let's step on the gas just a little bit. Get started with our devotion for the day. Here we go. Our help is in the name of the Lord. This comes from Table Talk magazine that we support, Ligonier Ministry, and we have supported them for years. R.C. Sproul has passed away and gone to his eternal reward, but we still continue to get their magazines and read and their materials and support that ministry, as it has been so foundational in what it is that we do here on the Erskin Music Show. Our devotion today comes from Psalm 124:8. Our help is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And I want to read something from a pastor, Robert Van Dudenwoord. He's from Hope Reformed Church at Powassan, Ontario. All right, Van Dudenwoord, I don't know who you are. I really appreciate this article. That's why I'm about to read a portion of it for our devotion today. But I just want to go ahead and say, Van Dudenwoord. Can you say that name like more times? I need more Van Dudenwoord in my life. So this is our devotion for the day. Our help comes from the Lord. Here we go. God's people have often been weak while their enemies loomed large. Only Noah and his household stood apart in a violent world. The armies of Abraham, Moses, David, and Hezekiah were vastly outnumbered. The apostles in the early church faced the persecutions of massive Roman Empire. Faithful churches of Jesus Christ continue to exist today as a tiny minority in many nations. If we survey history, there were only comparatively few times when God's people had the numbers in their favor. Psalm 124 is a reflection of the pattern of this history of Israel. The psalmist used vivid pictures of the superior power of Israel's enemies. They are like monsters that can swallow Israel alive. Their hatred burns like fire, like massive flood. These opponents seem overwhelming. Picture enormous, powerful armies and hate-filled and predatory foes. Israel seems to have no chance against the armies of Egypt or Assyria that march toward them. Why does the Lord allow these forces and these evils to amass? Why does he still allow this? Good question for us today. And there I'll close out with this statement from Psalm 24, and then I'll freestyle a little bit. The purpose of Psalm 24 is to say, through singing, believers in such times will remind each other of their hope in the Lord's help. The psalmist encourages us in our corporate participation in worship, our corporate participation in encouragement also encourages us to continue to keep going. No, I had a button for this. Yeah. So I want to just kind of freestyle just a little bit on Psalm 124. Obviously, the psalmist there, Van Dudenwoord. Say that 10 times fast and you will have a better day. I just want to say, Pastor Van Dudenwoord, I hope I'm saying it correctly because my name always gets messed up. So I'm kind of sensitive to that. But the more and more I say Van Dudenwoord, the better day that I'm having. And so I think you should try it. If you're discouraged, if you're disheartened, say Van Dudenwoord 10 times straight, really fast, and you will have a better day. But all kidding aside, all joking aside, Wanted to make mention of the fact that, you know, this is going to lead to something we're going to talk about a little bit later on the show. We have um, just an unprecedented situation that we find ourselves in with social, racial upheaval, a lot of the structuring of society, the president, vice president, a lot of our governmental leaders are advocating for a direction for our country to go that a lot of Christians feel is very uncomfortable. It's unsafe. It's different. It's a challenge. It's going to be different. It's going to be a challenge. It's in some cases perhaps may lead to some persecution. If that's scaring you this morning, then I'm sorry. Don't be scared. That's in fact what Psalm 124 is reminding them, the Lord and his help and his strength. And so I think we need to remind ourselves of these kind of verses and these kind of times when God's people rallied together, could hear the voice of the Lord and move in some measure of confidence. Don't be scared this morning is what I want to tell everybody out there. There's going to be a lot that changes. I'm actually quite optimistic about some of those changes. We're going to get into that article in just a second as we get to the topics of the day. But I want to just remind people that we can rest in the Lord, that he is who he says he is. He's going to do what he says he's going to do. And when we see saber rattling, and we see armies, when we see philosophies that begin to amass themselves, that it should concern us, but it shouldn't surprise us. It should make us vigilant in prayer, but it shouldn't make us angry. It should make us more aware and more passionate for the contention of souls in our country and in our world, but it shouldn't make us violent. Obviously, these are truths that we need to remind ourselves. Good morning, Chester. Hope you're doing well. And yes, I'm going to catch up with the TC Stallings thing here very quickly. But yeah, so I just wanted to make mention of that today to just calm any nerves that might be out there. There's always a new article out there about how the demise of Western Christianity is upon us, whether it be the churches in decline or whether it be the philosophies of man or the political philosophies that are out there. And there's always something, some army, some virus, something that is threatening our peace and tranquility. But hopefully we recognize, if we're watching this show, if you're still watching this show, that here we have no lasting city. I mean, there's no way for us to put a stake in the ground and say, yes, this is going to be the Christian empire, the Christian kingdom, post-millennial theology. Here we come. Christ is going to come in. We're going to usher in the red carpet, and Christ is going to come and be like, man, I love what you guys did with this thing, man. You did exactly what I told you to do. And yeah, let's go ball out together. Let's put my shades on. Jesus coming in his shades. Just like, oh yeah, man. Okay. I see what y'all did around here. That's good. Yeah. Took that government down, man, change that up, put some restrictions on China. That's exactly what I would have done. Heck to the no. That's not what Jesus is going to do. He's coming back for a church, a spotless bride, a church that is purified, church that is renewed and being renewed. But let's not get distracted in our culture. So that was our freestyle moment for the day. We're racing ahead to some other topics. These are posted also in the comment section. Glad you guys are doing well this morning. So I'm going to keep rolling here, because what normally happens is I get started on the show and then I start getting distracted by different things, and I don't even make it through all of my headlines for the day. So here we go. We're going to talk about what's going on in this new world. It's radioactive, radioactive, radioactive. Okay, we needed something a little bit. Oh yeah, this the new radioactive world. Here's our sound for that. That's a long one. But anyway, this article is preparing for a threat that seeks to replace Christianity. And the show notes are on christianheadlines.com. This is Jim Dennison in his forum that he gives. And I think Dennison is onto something that other writers have been saying. And so this is not necessarily revolutionary, but I did want to mention it as a topic this morning so that we begin to talk about it. And I'll read from this article, and then I'll let you guys know when I'm going to start freestyling on this. So I've got a couple of thoughts, a couple of notes, but this section is from Jim Dennison. All right. One of the clear messages that I sense, this is not me, this is Jim Dennison, I sense from God in recent days is that his people must prepare more urgently than ever for the challenges that are coming. Ooh-wee. That that part was my freestyle, in case you didn't know that. All right, we are in the early stages of a movement the church has never faced before, one which threatens us in ways that are now becoming clearer. Now, that was well written. Let me freestyle for just a second. I think we are at a new moment in American history. I would be interested to see what historians say because um, nations have risen, they have fallen before. We seem to be, as far as a nation is concerned, on that same cycle of a rise and then decline and then reordering and restructuring. Um, and so that from a historical precedence or standpoint should not be something that alarms us or concerns us. We, like Benjamin Franklin said, it's a republic if you can keep it. And fragile as republics and democracies are, there have been many attempts in the world, and there have been the rise and fall and the rise and decline of democracies all over the world. And so when we see some of the evidence of maybe our downward slope and downward decline, that from a historical and sociological standpoint should not surprise us. And so there are certain things that I believe Christian authors are saying, and I'm not saying that this is what Jim Dennison is doing, but there are certain things that Christian authors are saying that are kind of alarmist, like get in the bunker kind of things, like have your peanut butter and chicken noodle soup ready because it's all going down. But I wanted to make sure that you guys recognize it. From the Erskin Music Show, we don't even have any peanut butter. Kelly, can you get some peanut butter so we can make some of those sustain bars? Anyway, we'll put that on the grocery list so we at least have some peanut butter. But we don't have an over and abundance of peanut butter. We're not stockpiling things. We don't have ammunition. We don't have a small arsenal artillery or battle axes or anything like that we're saving up. So if that's what you're doing, then maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Here's where Jim Dennison goes in this article. And I'm not reading all of it again, but I just want to say the tone of the article is a tone that is familiar to a lot of people because this is kind of the way that we're talking these days. And it's at least noteworthy to me because I think we should engage the conversation where it lies. In the early stages of a movement that we've never seen before. Sociologist Philip Reef describes the era when Christian movement began as the first culture. Okay. Maybe historical foundations, Puritists, Separatists, Catholicism, religious movement, imperialism. It gets a little bit murky there. Okay, it gets a little bit murky there. Christian heritage, deist forefathers. Okay, all right. Magna Carta. Okay, Christian liberty and Declaration of Independence. I got you. I'm there. We can go there. I'm not gonna make any arguments this morning. America's not a Christian nation. I'm not pounding the pulpit. I know people who are big on that whole thing. America's not a Christian nation. And I could make that argument. If we were having a debate and I was having to take that side, I could make that argument and probably win. But if we're having the side of the debate where America is a Christian nation, I could take that side and probably win. So I'm about 50-50 on that. So I just will let you know. I believe both of those are true. So continuing on. He says that Christianity was a first culture. So that's foundation. That's where we started. It was dominated by a pantheon of gods whose followers were content with the religion and not mission toward the larger world. According to Reef, the Christian movement sparked a monotheistic and evangelistic second culture, which swept away the first culture. I guess you can see that historically speaking, maybe more so. Further expanding, now we are in what Reef calls a third culture, which Australian pastor, he's bringing in Australian people. What y'all got to say about all this? What's going on here? My clicker's not working this morning. I'm clicking it and it's not going. I'm going to have to actually touch the screen. Oh, man. I got first world problems today, folks. I have to actually touch the screen and move the headlines up and not just use my little clicker device. All right. Now we are in a third culture, according to an Australian pastor, Stephen McAlpine. Sorry, Stephen. McAlpine. 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 I don't know what his name is. He describes as hermetically sealed off from anything transcendent. Oh, you had to try and go put some big words up in this thing, make it think you smart. You try, I say what you did there. You try to put some big words up in this. What do we say? What do we come on, man. Come on, man. You need to say all those words like that. We're hermetically sealed off. Just say we're separated. You don't have to talk like that. It recognizes only horizontal identity constructions, not vertical ones. So this plane, not here. It means we want to talk to one another and talk about one another and get in each other's business and get in each other's face instead of going to God. He might be onto something there. Here is where meaning is determined, and here's where authority lies. It is ours to construct and ours to deconstruct. Now, he said some goofy stuff on there, but he said some really good stuff. And I know the comment section. Yeah. I need to pay attention to the comments. Sometimes people are like, hey, the microphone is turned off. Oh, man, I've been balling for 20 minutes. What? Nobody heard me. But he did say some important stuff there. I did want to McAlpine. You said something that I think we need to hear again, and that is the fact that we are living in a world that we talk to one another, and our vantage point for viewing reality comes from the plane in which we can see. Look to the right, you see a right-leaning group. You look to the left, you see a left-leaning group, and that is how we define reality based on this horizontal plane. It is never a transcendent, or should say lessening to some degree, and by virtue of the masses, a horizontal plane that looks for truth that is transcendent outside of us. So we define what is true for us. I mean, this is just kind of postmodernism, sort of revisited, sort of another spoke in the wheel of postmodernism. We define reality, we deconstruct, we reconstruct things based on our own reality. And I think that's kind of where we've been. There's some people who are a little late to the party. We've been talking about postmodernism for a long time. Usually when definitions come out before a culture actually catches up with those definitions, there's usually about 5 to 10 years, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more. We've been talking about postmodernism for a long time, and sort of the postmodern trappings are this deconstructionism that's taking place in a lot of different people in faith. The third culture is, and here's what I wanted to note, highly evangelistic. I'm back on the article, and actively hostile to second culture values. Okay, so first culture, we get foundation here. Second culture, we get an explanation, as it were, of and flourishing of values, principles, transcendent theology that comes down to us. We get to this third culture. Well, they're equally evangelistic. They want to rally people to their cause, whether that be political, whether that be sociological, whether that be religious in nature. We are rallying people to a call. We are rallying people to come. That's why, Black Lives Matter rallies and all those different things, they galvanize so quickly. And you look at Black Lives Matter, and it's not even an organization. It's a movement. And before, when we were sort of in that second cultural realm, to have a movement of people that could actually coalesce and come together with sort of philosophical principle was a lot harder, because people were ensconced in, well, what does the institution say about that? Oh, the institution is, what does the organization say about that? Where does it? So that's what I've been trying to tell people a lot these days, is that if you're trying to go back to when we come out of this pandemic, like the institutional structure, like the Southern Baptists say this, and so therefore, you're going to be completely frustrated, because people are not on that tip like that anymore. Like, they'll still be people who are part of the foundation. They're still part of the movement, organizations, trying to build strong organizations. And I'm not saying that that's not important. I'm just saying culturally, where we're at this moment, people are not on that like that. They're just, Black Lives Matter can sustain more effort, energy, time, attention, rallying power, monetary giving, corporate support, because it's a movement, not an organization. And that's very important. And I think they picked up on this. I'm back to the article. It considers sexual freedom and authenticity to be vital to personal and social flourishing. Biblical morality is therefore seen as dangerous to society and potentially deadly to LGBTQ. I'm sorry, LGBTQ. I always get that wrong because I add the P, which I just start adding letters. PZRNFRSN. Not to be insensitive, I just don't agree with anything that they. Oh, okay, let's start. I'm freestyling too much. The same vitriolic stance is taken with regards to abortion, euthanasia, or any personal freedoms that are threatened by biblical faith. According to McAlpine, this is a new religion and a rival gospel the church has not encountered before. Help me out this morning. There's a couple of eyeballs that are watching this. Is this new? Is this something we've never seen before? I don't know. You guys jump in the comment section and tell me. I'm over here freestyling a little bit, but I want to hear what you guys think. Can we take a survey? Let's get the poll up. Here we go. Here's the question. I'm going to put it in the show notes for today. Is this something new? Okay. Oh, man, I got a lot of banners on this thing. Oh, I'm looking over my notes. I've got a whole show of notes dedicated to the subject of you're not black enough if. Is this a new thing that we have never seen? I'm getting it up. Sorry. This just came to me. Spur of the moment. Let's get it on the screen. Survey says you don't know how to type. That's what the survey says. Survey says, is this a new thing that we have never seen? Questions, comments, statements. Give me your comments. I know there's about a 10-second delay that's on here, but I'll pause for this one because I really would like to hear from you guys. There's part of me that says, yeah, it's a new thing. We've never seen it like this before. But in terms of, man, I think idolatry goes back as far as the Garden of Eden and worshiping something else other than worshiping God. And then having his word. I don't know. You guys help me out. Tatenda. Hello from Zimbabwe. Wish I could come see you guys. Wish I had an opportunity to come see you guys this summer. But it's okay. It's going to happen in the Lord's time. Thank you for tuning in from Zimbabwe. Do appreciate you guys the international audience that tunes in. We got folks from India who regularly watch the show, from Nepal, from Zimbabwe, Africa. And I usually say good morning to everybody, but usually you guys jump on from YouTube, but that's good to see you guys on the Facebook platform. Always welcome. And Tatenda, I hope you are playing that guitar and you are just making much of the God-given talent that he has given you. What? Camera. Lights, camera, action. Sorry. I don't like that camera. All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, I do appreciate the international audience. And Tatenda, I hope you are just balling out on that guitar, singer-songwriter. So Rick James is saying, doesn't sound new. Kind of sounds like same old culture wars to me, honestly. Rick is going to be on the show tomorrow. Rick James. Looking forward to that. You'll not want to miss tomorrow's guest show. Rick James and I did an interview about a month or so ago, and just a great interview. Of all the people that I talked to, which is a lot of people, Rick and I just kind of had a commonality in that conversation. I said, "Hey, man, would you love to come on the show?" And he agreed to do so. And so I'll say more about that at the end of the show. But yeah, to me, to me, culture wars, idolatry, some of these themes that are sort of general themes can get repackaged in different languages. There are different organizations. There's different vocabulary. You know, vocabulary changes. If you read Douglas Murray's book, The Madness of Crowds, you'll recognize that one of the things that he, as a sociologist and scholar, recognizes that the rate that language changes, especially in a postmodern culture, because we're deconstructing, reconstructing all the time, is just astronomically high. There's new terminology and new verbiage just about every day. But I would have to maybe agree with Rick, and maybe this is the show topic that we get to tomorrow, is that even though we're using new terminology, even though we're using new statements, there's really nothing new that we're saying. In fact, I would harken back to Ecclesiastes. There's nothing new under the sun. If we've got a competition of worldviews and we've got a society and a culture war, there are going to be some that are opposed to the biblical position. There will be some who uphold the biblical position. There are some who want to rework the biblical position. There are some who ignore the biblical position. I don't know that there's anything so new about what's being said here, but I'll finish the article. And then for those of you who are joining now, here's what we got. Mick Alpine, who's off in Australia and talking about this new cultural revolution that's coming today, seeks nothing less to replace Christianity with a secular vision for a better future. I mean, yeah. And this is an article that is up in the show notes for today if you want to read the article in its entirety. Essentially, they were saying that there's the replacement of Christianity. The replacement of Christianity is already afoot in our culture. So, a couple of things. You guys probably know this from me. There's gonna be no replacement of Christianity. That's not even possible. Because Jesus said, upon this rock, he was talking to Peter, upon this rock I will build my church, and not even the gates of hell will prevail against it. He is going to build his church, and he is not going to fail in that process. Okay, so that we got that. But the structure that has encased Christianity is changing, has changed, will change. I'm actually kind of happy about that aspect of it. Don't call me liberal. Don't call me a heretic. Don't call me lucky. Just call me blessed. Don't call me lucky. Call me blessed. You know you have ADD when a serious comment about the state and the nature of the church turns into a country music song. Don't call me lucky, call me blessed. All I'm simply saying is that I'm actually excited that some of the trappings that I think are shackling actual biblical, faithful Christianity are beginning to be exposed. Some of the structures that are old wineskins are beginning to break down and fray. I'm not going to put new wine in those old wineskins. So, you know, you can get old. Christianity is really bad in our culture and guilty of becoming old school real quick, because every generation plants their flag and says, this is the way that things need to be done. And this is the way we like for things to be done, because we're comfortable and there's enough people in our culture and our society who are like this. And so this is what Christianity is. And although I just read from Van Dudenward in Ligonier's Ministries magazine there, Table Talk, even though you hearken back to the reformers, you know, the phrase Siempre Reformanda came out of the Reformation, because although Martin Luther started with his 95 Theses, I guess the pivotal and cataclysmic shift and turning point in the Protestant Reformation, John Calvin advanced upon some of those things in Geneva. Huldrych Zwingli also advanced upon those magisterial reformers, but even they, I mean, once you get to the Anabaptists and Menno Simons and some of the Balthasar Hubmaier, I'm saying a bunch of names you guys could care less about, but once you start to get into that level of recognizing that Luther consubstantiation didn't quite go far enough in this whole discussion, you need to always be reforming. And that's a good, let that wash over you, people. Wash. Why don't we not have a sound for that? I don't have water on here, but I have, what do I have? I got nothing. That's a good statement. So, yes. So let that wash over you for just a second here. I got to get back to the comments here. Doesn't sound new. Okay. Hello, tuning in from Zimbabwe. Okay. Thanks, Andy. Can't wait to speak to you tomorrow on the show. Yes, I already mentioned that you will be on the show tomorrow. That's great. You're coming. My man is coming. Tatenda. Let me just deal with this since you're on the show. You're listening. What's going on? Yes. Your strumming game is not on point. I wish I had my guitar here. I'll give you a little up, down, up lesson there real quick. Say I won't play guitar on this. Well, if you said I'm not going to play guitar, you're probably right because my guitar is over there and I'm over here and the whole show thing is getting in the way. But yeah, so man, keep on strumming. I don't know if you guys know this, but guitars for gifts. This was a guitars. I want to give credit to the right people. Guitars for Gifts. Yeah, this was a Guitars for Gifts project. Sorry, Instruments of Joy. You guys do the same thing. I just want to make sure that this was a Guitars. It was either Guitars for Gifts or Instruments for Joy. Blessed this young lady, Tatenda, with a guitar for her to be able to play in Zimbabwe. And she's a very talented young lady. Very talented connoisseur of music, and she has some resources and tools to be able to continue to go farther. But I do agree, I do need to get on a plane and get my rear end over to Zimbabwe as soon as possible. And you know what? The next time we come, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, I'm going to bring myself. I'm going to bring Mama, Mrs. Erskin Music Show, Kelly Anavatarte. I'm going to bring my son, Mr. Young Man, Justin, 14-year-old Anavatarte, and my daughter, who plays keyboard as well, Jasmine Janey. So we're all coming the next time. So hopefully, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. Not only will you see my face and guitar, but you will meet the entire family, and that will be a joyous celebration. One of the things that has been affected by this whole COVID thing is not traveling internationally like I had been and want to, and we pray will be again. So thanks for that, and thanks, Rick, for the promo for tomorrow. You are definitely going to be on the show, and we're looking forward to that discussion. Let me get this banner off of here and give you guys another banner. I don't even know how to get that banner off of there. I've messed up my own show. How do you do this? Oh, there it is. All right. So this is the Erskin Music Show. It is a music show, but we talk about stuff 90% of the time. But I wanted to tell everybody that has been listening to that last section or segment, you guys don't be discouraged. Don't be intimidated about things that are going on in society. In fact, it's time for us to not be fearful, but to be brave. Get it? Be brave.
Surrounded by people watching me. They're watching me, watching my every single move. Something special is rising up. Yeah, it's rising up, coming from deep inside of me. Like a flame, it's the passion of my life. You can see it when you look into my eyes. I'll never be the same, yeah. Love makes me who I am today. everyone can hear the sound. We're gonna sing like we never did. Oh, we gotta sing until they hear the harmonies. Till everybody can hear the song. Let's have a party, everybody sing along. We'll never be the same, yeah. Love makes me who I am today. Love makes me who I am today. Makes me wanna be brave. Love makes me who I am today. Love makes me who I am today. Makes me wanna be brave. Wanna be brave. Come on. Throw your hands up, raise your voice up. Feel the power of the spirit move. Throw your hands up, raise your voice up. Feel the power. We'll never be the same, yeah. Love makes me who I am today. Makes me wanna be brave. Come on. Love makes me who I am today. Love makes me who I am today. Makes me wanna be brave. Wanna be brave. Love makes me who I am today. Love makes me who I am today. Makes me wanna be brave. Wanna be brave.
Get off the screen. I think I know that guy. So instead of being fearful out there, let's be brave. I don't know if you guys have ever done this before, but if you're like at a party or if you're um, at an event or something, and like there's a bunch of people around you and they don't really know you, sometimes I will not say a lot. And I know that's hard for you guys to believe because I have a lot of words to say, but I will not say a lot. Just kind of listen to what's going on in the room, listen to the conversations. In fact, you know what? I might have to freestyle for just a second. I just thought of something. Yes, I know. The background with the shades, that's all for dramatic effect there. We're just praying for a sunny day here in Nashville. And that is not today. But I will sometimes just kind of, I know this is going to sound funny here. I got jokes this morning. I'll just kind of blend into the crowd, which is funny because about 95% of the audiences that I'm in are majority white. And so blending in and then having the hair and the that doesn't really happen, but I don't always just come out with the full Erskin music show. So if you're out there and you're like, hey, we want to invite this guy, but we don't know, like, is he Erskin music show all the time? Or is the Erskin music show an extension of kind of like how he is? And so I just want to let you guys know I'm not Erskin music all the time. In fact, when I go places, sometimes I'm a little quiet. I just kind of want to listen to the conversation, kind of see what's going on there so that I can figure out what I need to be responding to. In fact, I'll be talking to a group of pastors next week in Memphis, and the subject matter is going to be obedience. And I think I'm going to come from the Proverbs and talk to them about the fact that there's sometimes when we need to speak and there's sometimes when we need to not speak. And pastors are usually pretty good about being on in the pulpit. Increasingly, any more and more these days, I see a lot of pastors who are on Twitter and social media who are unfortunately on. But we kind of need to watch that from time to time. But I say all that to just simply say this. In our cultural moment, there's a lot of people who are responding. The culture has a lot of vitriol. The world has a lot of vitriol. And so we're responding the same way the world is responding. And it's like, getting each other. But I just want to just say that that's probably not, we probably need to listen to the conversation a little bit more and figure out where we can give some helpful advice. I always tell people, a wise man once told me, Erskin, you got a lot to say. You don't probably need to answer questions people aren't asking. And that was just profound. It struck me. It kind of got me in that tender place in my heart, if there is such a place in my heart. Woo! Let's get it. But it got me in that tender place in my heart because I thought, yeah, I'm going around creating the question that people need to be asking so that I can be the one who answers the question. And I feel like on both sides, all sides, the culture and in our cultural Christianity, there's a lot of people who are jumping into the fray these days to try to create a question for people to then have to answer the question. Like racism, obvious. We didn't need Black Lives Matter to tell us that. If you listen to the conversation long enough, you'll recognize how that racism has affected institutions systemically, even today. Obvious. But we've already put ourselves in camps because okay, no, you can't. Oh, no, you can't. Not a caught again. I mean, we're already fighting before we even have listened to what the thing is, and so I want to transition a little bit. Let's race forward in the show. We're at the 46-minute mark here today. The comment section is turned on. Thank you guys for joining in today from literally all over the world. Okay. Wanted to go to the NiK Ripken Insanity of God conference that I was at this last weekend in Pennsylvania, York, PA. Wonderful groups at COD up there, and just had some wonderful concerts, as well as had some wonderful time of sharing with the congregation in worship on the Sunday morning services, their East Campus and West Campus. And I want to just give a big shout out if there's anybody from COD who now is watching this show or will watch this show. I just want to thank you guys so much for just receiving myself and the band as well. You gave us those little chocolates. You gave us some fruit, little fruit basket. You take care of the band. Love it. God's people take care of God's people. So wonderful time there. Wonderful time of sharing. NiK Ripken. Let me take this off here. I feel like I'm distant from you guys. But NiK Ripken, who is the author of The Insanity of God, he's been on the show before. We've done a ton of interviews together before, but I literally sit there from time to time and I go, I've read all your books. I've talked to you for hours and hours, probably more than most people will have an opportunity to talk to you. And there are things that you're sharing this weekend that I've never heard you say before. And so it's always exciting to hear the new downloads and the new insights and the new vantage points that he comes from. If you've never read the book, The Insanity of God, please do yourself a favor and wreck your world by reading that book. That was a big catalyst and kind of where we're at today and what it is that we're doing today, because the song, Is He Worth It? And I'm gonna play the CCM interview here in just a little bit. It comes out of this whole relationship that we have. And so being able to hear that and hear it up close and personal once again reminds me a lot of these themes that NiK Ripken is talking about. And one of the things that he challenged us with is normal Christianity is persecution. In fact, I think I may have ticked off some people in a couple of messages that I've preached when I've said, the comfort-filled American standard of Christianity and religion is difficult because we're sort of an anomaly in world history. Like, this just doesn't happen for us to have this level of freedom, this level of ability to speak to issues, this ability to create mission organizations and resources and tools and techniques and talent, time and energies and efforts. That's just sort of unprecedented in world history on the world stage. Having said all that, I recognize that when NiK Ripken is getting up and he's speaking about normal Christianity, it's a lot easier for me biblically to enter into that world, because I'm one of those preachers that, by and large, for the most part, when I preach, there will be a couple of occasions where I'll do topical things. And, at least for a lot of the speaking engagements, I have topical things I need to cover, like the subject obedience. Well, I'm going to be there one time, so I'm not going to do a series in Ephesians, although that would be great. I'm going to address the topic, but I'm going to address it probably verse by verse through a scripture. So I usually teach and preach verse by verse through the Bible. No judgment against you if you don't, but that's my method of helping me understand. As I've preached through verse by verse in First Thessalonians, preaching verse by verse in Peter, pretty much most of the New Testament, they're experiencing some persecution or some turmoil or some trouble as a result of Christianity. That's easy for me to understand biblically how that could be a worldview. the world that we live in, where we have so much freedom and so much time, and in fact, so much excess time, resources, and energy, that we can create organizations to oppose organizations, and we can create movements. And I'm not saying any of that is necessarily bad, but we can like rally people that can march to stop gay marriage and all those different things. And we'd have the freedom, the bandwidth, the resources to be able to put together those kind of things as a result of the culture that we live in. That's more of an anomaly. Like when people say you don't see those kind of things in the New Testament, you don't, because that's not the culture there. But that does seem to be one of the things that NiK was challenging, is just saying it is a great miracle of God that we have the things that we have, the blessings that we have. But what will we do with that freedom? What will we do with that gift that God has given us? What will we do with that blessing? And that's really an important question for us to ask. And man, he does such a good job of challenging us in that regard. I'm going to play a little bit of the CCM interview, and I'm not going to be as frenetic in the background. In fact, I'm going to take myself out of the background and let you guys hear what CCM was able to put together in our latest, greatest segment there with CCM Magazine. This is the song Stripped Down, acoustic. It's live. Tatenda, if you're still watching this, this is easily some level that you are probably already at, or you could get to in terms of your acoustic guitar playing. But let this be an encouragement to you today from the insanity of God. Is Jesus worth it? As we look forward to Christ coming, maybe the church flourishing and facing persecution here in America. The church is facing persecution around the world. Let's continue to pray for our brothers and sisters. Hello, I'm Erskin of Erskin Music, and I'm excited to be here today to share a song called Is He Worth It? The song comes from a book called The Insanity of God, and the author of that book is NiK Ripken. In the book, he shares stories of how his interaction with the persecuted church around the world and in different places has encouraged the statement and the phrase, is Jesus worth it? And some of the difficulties and experiences that he has shared with songwriters across the planet. And he has encouraged songwriters to write songs of substance that encourage people. Because many times our brothers and sisters who are facing persecution, while they may not have a Bible, while they may not have protection, they have songs that resonate in their hearts that they continue to sing in the midst of their persecutors, often and in some cases bringing them to faith in Christ. This song is a challenging song for me, just in the sense that it encourages me daily to continue to pursue Christ and to live for Christ. I'm so excited to be a part of this project because I know the project is much bigger than myself. It's bigger than myself. It's bigger than NiK Ripken or any of the names that are on the project. This project is essentially there to help our brothers and sisters in persecution, to be a voice and a song that they cannot sing in times and ways that they cannot sing. And so the song is called Is He Worth It? And yeah, enjoy.
This is no game, it's no fairy tale. I stared right into a rifle barrel. It all comes down to this: is he worth it? This is no dream, it's reality. They stole my love and my dignity. It all comes down to this: is he worth it? This is where faith lives or dies. This is where hope comes alive. Pay the price, pay the price. This love demands a sacrifice. I'll give what I can't keep to gain what I can't lose. Count the cost, count the cost. It's a privilege to bear the cross. No matter what I face, my heart is certain that is worth it. This is no play, it's no Sunday school. Just give up now, don't be a fool. They jeered and laughed and said, is he worth it? This is no lie. They stole my child, they'd give her back if I just denied. And the road seemed long ahead. Is he worth it? Pay the price, pay the price. demands a sacrifice. I'll give what I can't give to gain what I can't lose. Count the cost, count the cost. It's a privilege to bear the cross. No matter what I face, my heart is certain. Life is gonna ask you to make a choice. Give it all away for greater joy. Nothing's greater than Jesus. The heavens open up and we see His face. Standing there, yeah, we're gonna say He was worth every pain. Pay the price. This love demands a sacrifice. I'll give what I can't give to gain what I can't lose. Count the cost, count the cost. It's a privilege to bear the cross. No matter what I face, my heart is certain. No matter what I face, my heart is certain that He's worth it. Oh, Jesus is worth it. Oh.
All right. So that was the song Is He Worth It? And again, special shout out and much love to COD up in York, PA. You guys were tremendous all the way from top to bottom. And so blessed time and then wonderful with Nick and Ruth this weekend again, being able to be reunited with them and being able to jump on an actual Marco Polo and let the kids and the family see you guys. Beautiful, beautiful. Wanted to race ahead. Got about 5 more minutes left in the show, but I wanted to talk about a call that I received last week from some friends in India who essentially said, Erskin, hey, we love you. And that feeling is mutual. And they said, hey, we would love for you to speak to us, your music. We're putting together a special called meeting. We're facing an unprecedented health crisis. You've seen probably on television the mass graves and just absolute chaos and just tumultuous situation in the healthcare industry related to the pandemic and the wave that is now sweeping India. Don't believe the hype. The reports and the numbers that they have there, they're way underneath what is actually going on and what's happening in that country in terms of a health crisis. And so lot of difficult things there. Preston, thanks for tuning in and thank you for your encouragement on the song. But they reached out to me and they said, hey, we want to have you come and speak to us. We value your voice. We value your songs, their encouragement, their inspiration to us. And they said, we want you to come at a certain time. And I told myself, man, I am traveling with the band and I'm not even going to be in the city, but you cannot, man, just hold on a second. I'll do this camera because we finish out the show. But you cannot, it's all hazy, all fuzzy and stuff. Man, see, you know what? Anyway, other camera let me down. But you cannot say no to that kind of encouragement from your brothers and sisters. And I told him, yeah, I'll definitely get back on and you know, try to figure out how we can make this work. I know I'm going to be in a hotel. And so I'm thinking about 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be in a situation where I'm having to play my guitar, do sound checks and different things. Fortunately, I was on East Coast time. So it was not 5 o'clock. It was more like 6:15 or so in the morning. I'm getting up, sound check, getting everything ready. But I had an opportunity to speak to them about what God is doing in these times. Use Romans 8:28. God works all things together for good to them that love God and called according to his purposes. But I just wanted to simply bring that up as a matter of saying that one of the things that they were saying is that they were appreciative of America because we were sending supplies and resources to them. President Biden was going to be sending aid and resources. ventilation system, oxygen, and some vaccines. Britain has vowed to send some vaccines. Russia is sending some of their vaccine there as well, and trying to help with this unprecedented health crisis in India. And they were just so thankful and grateful for that, which obviously, if you know anything about Indian people, they're very gracious people. But I wanted to make sure that they understood that all of the support that's coming from the United States is not only simply monetary support or only simply healthcare support, but that we would be praying for them as well, and that we would be involved in the process that God is undoubtedly bringing about in their midst. I told them that, God has some mysterious things that he does. And Deuteronomy 29:29 says the secret things, they belong to God. So we won't know what all God is doing. But even in the mystery, God is good. And so they brought me to another screen where there was a lady who had just lost her husband, still raw, and just being able to speak to her about God's goodness in the midst of that situation, and her being joy-filled even in the midst of personal and family crisis. And so continue to pray for the folks in India. I told them that I would encourage us to do so. And so I wanted to encourage all of you who are watching or potentially will watch the show to just keep India in your prayers. There's some beautiful folks that I minister alongside with at St. Mark's Cathedral in Bangalore, as well as Karam Deo Church. Maybe I shouldn't be saying their names. All right, strike that. Can't live edit that one. But anyway, some wonderful, dear friends and brothers who are there, who are just even virtually continuing to love and be friends. So yeah, there's that. Wanted to also mention the fact that, let me get to the screen here. You can subscribe to this show and also the Way Forward show, so the notifications come up. Just click that notification there, push the like button, and that's what a lot of folks are doing these days. And so I will put that information up on the screen so that you know where to find us, where to like us, and where to click that notification so that it comes your direction.